Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So 1.20, the first question of Nachiketa, we will chant. Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushye.
Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushye.
Asti tyeke nayam asti tichaike.
Asti tyeke nayam asti tichaike.
Etad vidya manushishtastvayaham.
Etad vidya manushishtastvayaham.
Varanamesha varastritiyah.
Varanamesha varastritiyah.
Then the 26th verse, Nachiketa's statement of refuting everything, renouncing everything. 1.1.26. Shobhavamartyasya yadantakaitat.
Shobhavamartyasya yadantakaitat.
Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha.
Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha.
Api sarvam jivitamalpameva.
Api sarvam jivitamalpameva.
Tavaiva vahastava nritya gite.
Tavaiva vahastava nritya gite.
Then second section, first, that is 1.2.1, Anyachreya. Anyachreyo anyadutaiva preyaha.
Anyachreyo anyadutaiva preyaha.
Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinitaha.
Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinitaha.
Tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati.
Tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati.
Hiyate arthat yayupreyo vrinite.
Hiyate arthadya preyo vrinite.
Next. Shreyascha preyascha manushyametaha.
Shreyascha preyascha manushyametaha.
Tau samparitya vibinakti dhiraha.
Tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha.
Shreyo hi dhiro bhipreyaso vrinite.
Shreyo hi dhiro abhipreyaso vrinite.
Preyo mando yogakshemat vrinite.
Preyo mando yogakshemat vrinite.
Then to the fifth verse, same chapter, Avidyayam. Fifth. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha.
Avidyayamantare vartamanaha.
Swayam dhira panditam manyamanaha.
Swayam dhira panditam manyamanaha.
Dandramyamana pariyanti mudhaha
Dandramyamanaः pariyanti mudhaः
andhenaiva niyamana yathandhaha.
Andhenaiva niyamana yathanthah.
7th verse, same chapter. Shravanayapi bahubhiryo na labhyah
Shravanayapi bahubhiryo na labhyah
Shrinvantopi bahavo yam na vidyuhu
Shrinvantopi bahavo yam na vidyuhu
Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha
Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha
Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah
Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah
Nanarena varena prokta esha
Nanarena varena prokta esha
Suvijñeyo bahudha chintyamanaha
Suvijñeyo bahudha chintyamanaha
Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti
Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti
Aniyan hyatarkyamanupramanat
Aniyan hyatarkyamanupramanat
1.2.14 Anyatra dharmad anyatra dharmat
Anyatra dharmad anyatra dharmat
Anyatra smat krita kritat
Anyatra smat krita kritat
Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha
Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha
Yattat pashyasi tadvada.
Yattat pashyasi tadvada.
Now, in reply to that, Yamaraja starts his discourse. This is the actual starting point of the discourse. Before that, he has said many of the things, how a seeker should lead his life, etc. Now, the 15th, 16th, 17th, these are the introductory part of the discourse. Then he actual reply to Nachiketa's question, just what we chanted now, the 14th verse. That reply comes in the 18th verse. We should be able to relate. It is exactly in reply to the 14th verse. The 18th verse will come. We will do it up to that today, I think. 15th verse. Sarve Veda yat padamamananti
Sarve Veda yat padamamananti
Tapamsi sarvani cha yadvadanti
Tapamsi sarvani cha yadvadanti
Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti
Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti
Tatte padam sangrahena bravimi
Tatte padam sangrahena bravimi
Om ityetad
Om ityetad
Sarve Veda yat padamamananti
Sarve Veda yat padamamananti
Tapamsi sarvani cha yadvadanti
Tapamsi sarvani cha yadvadanti
Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti
Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti
Tatte padam sangrahena bravimyomitetat
Tatte padam sangrahena bravimyomitetat.
This I explained that day. It is saying that the purpose of our practices, if we don't keep in mind, in our focus, the ultimate purpose, then we will be lost in the practice. That is what happens the whole world over. If we miss the goal, suppose the purpose of money is happiness, is it not so? We start acquiring money to have happiness, to become happy. But in the process, as the money comes, we lose that ultimate purpose. The money becomes the source of anxiety and unhappiness, so to say. Is it not so always? The moment we lose the purpose, that the purpose of money is happiness, the moment we lose that ultimate goal of what we are doing, we get caught into the practice only. We could go on collecting money, more money, and that the whole life becomes tortured by money. The rule over, we become slave to money. That is in everything. We start reading the Vedas to know the truth. We start reading the Upanishads to know, to realize our who am I, to realize the self, the real self, our real identity. But as we start reading, and it gives quite a lot of joy, enlightenment also, then we start discussing about it or explaining it, and we get lost in the study, forgetting that the purpose of reading the Shastras is to realize the truth. That goal gets lost. So he is cautioning us that whatever we do in the name of the studying the Vedas, chanting the Vedas, or chanting Vishnu Sahasranama or anything, then we do in the form of austerity, various fasting, this puja, that puja, or torturing the body also sometimes, standing on one leg, sitting in the sun with 5 kinds of fire around, 4 fires and the sun over there. All these are austerities. But while performing the austerities, we lose the goal. What is the purpose of the austerities finally? We do yaga, jajna, etc. Then we become so clinging to the yaga, jajna that we lose what is the purpose of this yaga, jajna. That is forgotten. So right in the beginning, before starting the discourse, he is saying this is what you have to remember always. Sarve Vedayat Padam Amananti. Padam means the goal, the ultimate level where we have to reach. All the Vedas, they are speaking about so many things. They contain everything in the knowledge. So many yaga, jajna, so many practices, so many things about the knowledge. But know that the purpose is that one goal, knowing the truth, who am I, and knowing that my identity is not limited by this small body-mind complex. Tapamsi sarvani chayad vadanti. In the form of austerities, tapas. So many kinds of tapas is there, and people get so much attached to tapas. Finally, tapas means various kinds of austerity, and they start taking pride in the austerity. I can be without food for 15 days or 20 days. That becomes a pride for them, and they get lost in the austerities. Or I have studied all the Vedas, this, that, all that. It is all we are losing game. A sannyasin came to our ashram, visit our ashram. He was 73 years old. He took sannyasa 50 years back when he came. That is at the age of 23 or so. He said that one day we had asked him to, Swamiji, why don't you say something from which we can know certain things? You have been a sannyasin for such a long period, you have moved around. He came from Rishikesh. So you have been in Uttarkashi, Rishikesh, met so many people. So the first thing he said that in my life I took up sannyasa 50 years ago, and in my sadhana life I have read almost all the prominent Shastras, all Upanishads. I have met many of the famous gurus who were well-known stalwart in spirituality. Some of them we also know or we also heard of, like Vishnudevananda Giri, then Harihar Tirtha Maharaj, etc. Those we know, and others also. I have done satsang in very close quarter with them. I have studied everything. I have done satsang with many of the great Mahatmas. I have lived in Himalayas for so many decades, doing all the austerities, meditating, this, that and all, everything I have done. But what I have to tell you is that when I took up sannyasa at the age of 23, where I was, I remained there. I have not advanced even a single step. Now, there is exaggeration in his statement. Such honest statement seldom anybody makes. He is making an honest statement. There is a little exaggeration. It cannot be in the same position what was there in 50 years. But what he means to say is that I have not attained the truth or come near the truth. It was a great revelation, a sannyasin of that age speaking openly like that, who has come from a very reputed place in Himalayas. Then we asked Swamiji that this will not serve the purpose. You have to tell us why you are saying that. What was the lack so that we can correct ourselves? Then he said that I lacked intensity. The intensity for anusandhana, for searching the truth. I have been studying all the Upanishads, Vedas. I have never looked for the truth. I studied to have my knowledge of the Vedas. I have stayed with the Mahatmas also, never knowing where is the source of their courage, where is the source of their power. I have delighted in their Sangha just to be with them and have the glory of being along with some great Mahatma. You understand this? We call Brahma Bandhu. It's very common. This is the common mistakes people have. When you are a disciple of a great Mahatma, suppose my guru is Swami Vivekananda or something like that. If you say like that, oh, you are Vivekananda's disciple. So it becomes a glorious something. But you have not approached anything at all. So it is called Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu means you have not known the Brahman, but you have become a friend of Brahman. So we have direct other examples also. In giving all these examples, the problem I face is there is a lot of resistance because they are all known people around us. And if they hear I am speaking about them, they will be hurt or somebody else will. But these are, unless we know the real life stories, we will not have a very clear picture. I was going to Dakshin Khanda, I got initiated by Baba, so I used to stay like their children, sort of a thing. I mean, whenever we would go, I would stay for about 7 days, 10 days. Almost like Rajputra, they used to look after me, Ma and Baba, everybody. Very comfortably staying in the village, going around, running around in the field. That there, it's all surrounded with the rice field and all. Or sometimes there will be the ganne ka ras, that sugar cane cultivation. So during that period in winter, they will put up some tents and have huge kadai, huge vessel in which the sugarcane juice is being boiled and jaggery is being made. I got the taste of real jaggery hot from the oven there. So it is something entirely different from what jaggery we get. So all these were there. So our Baba got initiated by Kshitish Chandra Dev, who was belonging to this village only, and he was younger to Baba, much younger to Baba. He was a school teacher. He left his body at the age of 33 or so, very young. Now Kshitish Chandra Dev I did not see because he left long back. But Kshitish Chandra Dev's 2 elder brothers were still there in the village. Their house was there, 2 elder brothers were there. So Baba used to tell us that whenever we would go there, that please go and visit their house. That is their Guru Sthana. That is, Guru belonged to that family. Please go and visit. So religiously we used to visit them. But I did not like to visit them because I found that they are very jealous of Baba. So the way one brother was one day speaking to me was that they used to see that many people are coming and visiting Baba. Sometimes foreigners are also coming and visiting. In such a small village, faraway village, all those things are very prominent. So people around, they would know everything. He used to feel jealous about it. He told me that, see, all these people are your, that is, I have also got initiated from Baba. You don't know what that initiation was. Why? Narayana Tirtha Dev, Kshitish Chandra Dev's guru, those days the sannyasin used to go for parivrajana, so that people would, no internet was there, no mobile was there, and so much of prachara outreach was not there. Outreach was all in the subtle level, spiritual outreach. Just by itself the shishya will come to meet the guru and they will be initiated and they will lead the life. There was no perceptible, what do you call it, the waves, I mean perceptible signals. It is all subtle. Automatically they will come. So Narayana Tirtha Dev, when visiting that village in his parivrajana, he initiated a few people there. That is how Kshitish Chandra Dev and his brothers got initiated from Narayana Tirtha Dev. So Kshitish Chandra Dev's brother wanted to tell me, what they were telling me is that you should have seen what is the initiation of Narayana Tirtha. There will be a lot of experiences and all that our Baba's initiation also had, but what he was meaning that there will be a lot of experience, he will know immediately, samadhi will be there, this will be there, that will be there. What is this man doing? It is of no use. That was the idea. Exactly this word he did not use. But he would repeatedly say like that. I used to think that if Narayana Tirtha's initiation was like that, and this person has got that initiation, then after the initiation, what has he done that still he is suffering from jealousy? So my lesson I got from there, that he is greatly speaking about the initiation of Narayana Tirtha, which I would also like to speak, because we are belonging to the same parampara. But getting the same initiation, what has happened to him, that in such a advanced stage of doing so many decades of sadhana also, he is still haunted by jealousy, and about whom? Another spiritual person in the village. So that was a lesson. This is what happens. We go on talking about the Guru. हमने इतना संग किया है, उनके साथ इतने साल रहा है, छोटे मोटे बहुत कुछ बोलते रहते हैं गुरु के विषय में, because others do not know, they have come new. So those who are old devotees of the saint, they speak about various old things, not always very innocently. They take pride in talking about that. Innocently also people can say, because it is interesting and it is good for others, sadhana also. As far as innocence is, that fine. But often, if they don't do the sadhana, that there lies the problem. If the devotees do the sadhana, then they grow along with the years of association, then automatically the newer people will be following them, and the saint will not have to do much, because the next generation will look after. It is a natural process of growth. But if the older initiates, they do not do the sadhana, then comes the problem. The newer ones are advancing in sadhana, whether they have not done anything. So there is a question of jealousy coming in, or a pride of establishing themselves, that we have done so much. I know Swamiji for 50 years, last 50 years. That is a point of pride. अरे वो 50 ईयर से क्या हुआ है वो देखना चाहिए ना. पत्थर ही नहीं रह गया, सैकड़ों साल से पड़ा हुआ है गंजेस में, गंगा जी में. That has to be seen, that I have done 50 years of sadhana or 60 years of sadhana is not the point. Where am I? That humility should be there to analyze our own state. So, the even Guru Sangha or Satsanga or so also can go the tangential way. That is not giving us the benefit of the Sangha. And we take pride in that association of no use. Do you get my point? These are very important points. We know a person related to us. He used to say that some astrologer had said that his Guru will be a Mahapurusha. Now, who is a Mahapurusha? Who will know? Will you be able to know who is a Mahapurusha? His Guru will be a Mahapurusha, बता दिया. तो इसका अर्थ यह हुआ, by that his ego grew so much that he thought that all others gurus are not Mahapurusha. Are you able to understand? So many Mahapurusha walked in front of their house also, and came to the next house. They were called to, they saw the Mahapurusha also. They didn't find any Maha, because he is my friend's Guru or my brother's Guru. He cannot be a Mahapurusha. My Guru will be a Mahapurusha. Poor fellow died without any Mahapurusha coming and initiating him. See how much of delusion we suffer from. Somebody said your Guru will be Mahapurusha. Does it mean that he will not know anybody else? Try to know with humility who is the person, what is it and all, and gain from all others. Maybe your Guru will be Mahapurusha, but you may also become a little Mahapurusha before meeting the Mahapurusha Guru, by getting from the Chota Purusha something. We can learn from anybody. Baba once told me that if you are a real seeker, you will learn from everything, and you will get the support from the whole world. When you are haunted by some question, even a mad person or a drunkard from the road will come and tell you the answer. And it happened exactly like that. We have to be humble to receive from everything, and then the real guidance will come from anywhere. The Guru will speak through them. So that is why this shloka, whenever a discourse, the first shloka is very important, because they give the right in the beginning, outset, they give the caution for us that don't miss the goal. This is the goal of Sarve Veda yat padam amananti. All the Vedas, they may be contradictory in the shlokas speaking about this, that, so many things. But that is all with the one aim of telling you what you should focus on, what is the goal. That same goal, one goal only is there. Tapamsi sarvani cha yad vadanti. Whatever austerities our scriptures speak about and we pursue, various vows, various vratas, everything. The purpose is ultimately the divergent mind has to be made convergent. Yesterday I was discussing, our mind is divergent, always plugging on to various multifarious diversities. That mind, through the diversity, it has to converge to the oneness. That oneness is projected as the diversity. The diversity is playing on that oneness. So we should not get lost in the diversity. Through the diversity also, behind the diversity, beyond the diversity, transcending the diversity, we should be aware of the one truth behind. Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti. By wishing which, willing which, or wanting which, people take to lifelong celibacy. That is also for that. Shadi nahi kiya, that can become a pride. वो लोग तो सब शादी वाले हैं, वो तो हाउस होल्डर है, हमने शादी नहीं किया, ब्रह्मचारी हैं. One Sardar Brahmachari had once come to the ashram. We did not have any place to host at that time. He got very annoyed. He wanted Swamiji's phone number. Swamiji was not there. Swamiji's mobile number हमें दे दीजिए. That is, we are all creating problem. He will speak to the Mathadipati. I said, Swamiji doesn't use any mobile. ये आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? स्वामी जी अभी यहाँ नहीं है, हम मोबाइल से बात करना चाहते हैं, आप नंबर नहीं देंगे? हम सच बोल रहे हैं, स्वामी जी का मोबाइल नंबर नहीं है. और आप बात करके क्या करेंगे, क्योंकि यहाँ तो जगह रहने से हम भी देते थे आपको. ओ ही गॉट सो अनॉयड. पहले शिष्य बनना सीखो, बाद में बात करोगे, बोल के वो चले गए. फर्स्ट यू लर्न टू बी अ डिसाइपल, देन ओनली यू स्पीक टू अदर्स. I took it to be a message for me. Maybe I have some pride or something. He has given the caution, it is fine, but we cannot host you. Please go. That's okay. Why did I say this? Brahmachari, the pride of a brahmacharian. The brahmacharian pride is very great. Tatte padam sang. That is why that story is there. One brahmacharian did some tapasya. You know about it, very common story. Then after during the tapasya, a crow sat on the tree and dropped on his head. So he got very annoyed, his meditation got broken. He looked at the crow angrily. The crow became ash and fell down from the tree. Oh, I have got so much of power. Just by putting an krodha drishti I can burn. So he got very satisfied with his power. Went on for bhiksha and all. In one house, he was standing for bhiksha, but the lady at that time was serving her husband, giving food to her husband. So she will give, but completing, because for the sati, for a chaste lady, the husband is the first person to be served. After that, they will serve. Atithi also will be served, but after that. So the wife came, and the housewife came and asked him that, ब्रह्मचारी प्लीज, साधु प्लीज वेट, आई विल कम. बोलकर चली गई. वो हस्बैंड को सर्व करके उनका खाना हो जाने के बाद हाथ धो के वो बाहर आई. तो इसमें तो उनका गुस्सा पूरा एकदम, आंखें लाल लाल हो गया, गुस्सा पूरा चढ़ गया. He was looking angrily towards the lady. The lady looked at him and said that, oh brahmachari, this is not your crow burning tapasya. I have to serve my husband. That is my tapasya. It is not the kakbak bhashyakara tapasya. No. Ramakrishna Dev used to say like this, that kak means crow and baka means the crane. So bagula. So ये तुम्हारा वो काग बगुला भस्म करने वाली तपस्या नहीं है. It is not your austerity of burning, the power of burning the crows and the cranes. I am serving my husband. So that is my tapasya. Oh, that Brahman telling her, what is this? The lady knows more than me. How could she understand what is in my mind? I don't have the power to understand others' mind. I may be able to burn off some crows, but this lady knew that I am getting angry and knew my mind, and how did she know that I have burnt a crow? So she is more powerful than me. So immediately, कोई powerful देखा तो उसके पास जाएगा. This is what it is. The moment you are worshipper of power, you will look for a guru who has great power. एक गुरु के पास गए, इनिशिएशन लिए, फिर दूसरा किसी को देख के लग रहा है इसके पास ज़्यादा पावर है लग रहा, तो उनके भी पास गए, उनको भी लेके कुछ नहीं हुआ, तो थर्ड गुरु किसी को नहीं, इनके पास ज़रूर ज़्यादा, he must be having greater power. So he will go to the third guru also. This is why in our shastras it is said that guru change करना नहीं चाहिए. You should not go to multiple guru. Why? It is not because of the guru or anything. It is because of our desultory mind. That we don't do the sadhana, we want anything to happen from the sky without doing anything. You get my point? Fault is not with the guru. The guru has given you some sadhana, you have to do the sadhana. Without doing the sadhana, you want to get something from the blue, happening from the blue, some power from the sky without doing the sadhana. So you generally move from guru to guru, looking for something happening from the blue without doing any sadhana. That is why it is forbidden. Otherwise you go to any number of guru, there is no problem at all. It is because of, to prevent the fallacy of the desultory mind where हमारा मन चंचल है, उस चंचल मन को रोकने के लिए बताया गया है कि सबके पास नहीं दौड़ना चाहिए. So यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण ब्रवीमि ओम इत्येतद्. I will tell you that goal in essence. What is that goal in essence? The Vedas, Upanishads, they are speaking in so many terms, but in essence what is that goal? Who am I? What is that essential truth that I have to know? I will tell you that. Saying that, he says Om iti etat. That is represented by Om. Om represents that. Om is a symbol of this Brahma Vidya, and Om is used also, Om Japa, as an upasana. Om Upasana बोल के chapter है. There are chapters. Om Upasana is also there, helping the chanting, the sound of the Om. We can go to the Samadhi. So both way it is representing the Brahma Vidya. Basically, from the knowledge level, it is a symbol of the truth, and from the lower level of upasana level, it is it's a mantra for worship. Both can be used. For a initial level, we can use it a mantra for worship, but finally, when it becomes a knowledge pursuit, we have to use that. It represents the knowledge. Why it represents? The other day I said, Om is constituting of three sounds, the A, U, A represents the wakeful state when it's full open. U is a closed up, it is the inner world, that is the dream world. And when there is no opening, there is no multiplicity at all. It is our deep sleep where we are going. These are the three states our awareness goes. Our awareness moves from wakeful to dream to deep sleep, to wakeful to dream to deep sleep. Like that, the awareness is moving in these three. These three are mutually exclusive. You understand mutually exclusive? Vyatireka, Anvaya Vyatireka. That means when one is there, the other is not there. When you are dreaming, you are not wakeful. When you are in deep sleep, you are neither dreaming nor wakeful. So who is that who is undergoing these three states? There is something which is undergoing the three states. That is, you have three rooms, you are moving around room A to room B to room C like that. The three states belonging to you. But who are you? That is the main point. So Om, it leads to that transcendental A, U, After that, the transcendental level is the I, which is moving through these three states of awareness. So Om points to that when the sound goes, finally, sound goes and dissolves into the silence, we are left with the soul, where these three states are appearing consecutively, one after another. Is it clear? Saying that, then he is giving, these are all gem of slokas. He is giving direction for sadhana. I will read the two next slokas and then interpret. एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं ब्रह्म
एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं ब्रह्म
एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं परम्
एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं परम्
एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं ज्ञात्वा
एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं ज्ञात्वा
यो यदिच्छति तस्य तत्
यो यदिच्छति तस्य तत्
It is see, etat hi eva aksharam. So many sandhis are there. Etadhyeva aksharam. Etat hi eva aksharam. It is to emphasize that this alone is hi eva, that indeed only. Eva means only, that alone. And he means indeed. So it is emphasizing that, focus on that. Etadhyeva aksharam brahma. This Omkara is itself the unimperishable Brahman. Etadhyeva aksharam param. This Omkara is indeed the Supreme Brahman also. Etadhyeva aksharam jnatva. When we come to know this imperishable Omkara, yo yadichati tasya tat, whatever one wants, it happens to him. I will come to again, next one. Etadalambanam shreshtham
एतदालम्बनं श्रेष्ठम्
Etadalambanam param
एतदालम्बनं परम्
Etadalambanam jnatva
एतदालम्बनं ज्ञात्वा
Brahmaloke mahiyate
ब्रह्मलोके महीयते
Etadalambanam shreshtham
एतदालम्बनं श्रेष्ठम्
Etadalambanam param
एतदालम्बनं परम्
Etadalambanam jnatva
एतदालम्बनं ज्ञात्वा
Brahmaloke mahiyate.
ब्रह्मलोके महीयते.
See, these figurative expressions they carry on with. Generally the religious expression is something like Brahmaloka is there. There is a world like the heaven, there is something called Brahmaloka. It is also a kind of a heaven. They are using that expression, but what they mean is that the Brahmanya, one becomes Brahman, one attains the Brahman. It is not that he walks into another loka called Brahman. Both meaning can be taken, the religious people will think in that manner also. He says, Etad alambanam. Alambanam means the support, the refuge. Alamban means what you hold on to. जैसे अंधे का लाठी है, the blind person's stick, you are taking it as alambanam. For a child, the parents are the alambanam, mother is the alambanam. Whatever we are taking refuge in, whatever is that support, that is called alambana. Whatever we hold on to. He says, Etad alambanam shreshtham. This is the best of the alambana. He is talking about the Omkara, but it is true of many things. It is true of any support is given. Suppose the Guru has given you a mantra, it can be that also. Etad alambanam shreshtham, etad alambanam param. That alambana, that refuge is the supreme refuge. Etad alambanam jnatva. When you come to know this alambana, you become Brahman. You go to the Brahmaloka, or you become Brahman, you know, attain Brahman. Anything can be the meaning. When a Brahmavid, Brahmaiva bhavati. One who knows the Brahman, he becomes Brahman. Because it is not a knowledge of the car or the chair or the table. It is a knowledge of I. When you know that the I is the Brahman, you become Brahman. That is the idea. Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Now, In one sense, if you take the Omkara sadhana, as he has said, Om Ityetad, if you consider the Om Upasana, he is saying that Upasana, that Aksharam, that Omkara, that is the Brahman. When he is saying ordinary Brahman and Param, that means they are differentiating the two Brahman. That is, when the world appears in that consciousness, is it not the same consciousness? As you write, say here you write elephant and you write table. Is the table made of wood or the elephant made of flesh? It's all made of air. Like that, as the whole universe is appearing on the Atma, or the consciousness, whatever is written, be it a male, female, gross object or a subtle thought or an abstract concept or even the concept of God, all these are written on consciousness. So they are all just like writing in the consciousness, is it not so? This is the Karya Brahma. That is, Karya Brahma means when the whole world is appearing in the Brahman, that is also Brahman, is what I was explaining. That although the world appears with its infinite variety, to a knower it is Brahman and Brahman only. It is not, variety is only seen. Because they are all written in the consciousness, just like writing in the air. If you write here dog and write here God, there is no difference. It is all in interaction, there will be difference, but the interactions are also written on that consciousness alone. Do you get it? So that Karya Brahma means when the Brahman expresses, projects the world, that is called the Karya Brahma. That is, there will be activity, change, everything will be there. The Brahman remains imperishable, unchanging. But on that unchanging consciousness subject, the whole objectitude is manifest. That is the main mystery. So when they say the Supreme Brahman, that means it is beyond the manifestation, non-manifestation, no duality is there. It is the non-dual supreme state. So this itself, Omkara itself is the Karya Brahma manifesting as the world. Omkara itself is the Supreme Brahman, which is beyond all duality, world, non-world, subject, object, no duality is there. It is beyond all, the transcendental Brahman, Supreme Brahman. So whatever be the concept of your truth, here the lesson is, whatever be the concept of your truth, when you are taking the Omkara as the sadhana, you consider it as the supreme truth, as the supreme. Then only it will lead you to the supreme. You take a sadhana and consider it to be no, it is not the supreme. I have given, so Guru has given me only an ordinary sadhana. That is, there is something beyond. Then you will not be able to focus on to this. The question is, whatever your sadhana is, if you take it up with the full spirit, then it will take you to the ultimate level. So consider this Omkara to be the Karya Brahma as well as the supreme non-dual Brahman. Etad devaksharam yatva. When you come to know really what is there in the Omkara, yadichyati tasyatat. Whatever you want, it will happen, because the whole universe is a manifestation of the Brahman. Whatever kamana arises in us, this is very clearly stated in Mundak Upanishad. Yam yam kama, what is that? Vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yamscha kaman, tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman, tasmat yatmajyaha archayet bhuti kamaha. In Mundak Upanishad it is there. A pure mind. What is a pure mind? Which does not have any desire. Pure mind means which does not have any desire. So that pure mind, when the mind becomes pure, it is in tune with the fundamental harmony of nature, fundamental tune of nature, you can say. It is called in tune with the infinite. It vibrates with the nature. It is naturally in tune with the fundamental laws. So any sankalpa coming in that mind, sankalpa means something should happen, that kind of a thought. Any thought arising in that mind will fructify in nature. May not be immediately, but it will have its waves in the nature and it will manifest as a truth. So, yo yadichyasi, yo yadichyati tasyatat. whatever he wants, it happens to him. When the mind becomes pure, the mind becomes the Brahman. As the Brahman has manifested as the world, his mind also manifests as whatever sankalpa in the mind is there. So it is called Shuddha Sankalpa. A knower's sankalpa is called Shuddha Sankalpa. Whatever he thinks, it happens. Because it is always never harmful for the world or anything. It is in nature. Even if his mind there is a destruction thought arising, that destruction is nature's thought. It should happen. So often people say that why the rishis were cursing. They were real rishis will not curse. They will only utter the truth. Suppose seeing your behavior, he feels that you are going to have this problem. Actually when he comes out with that, this happens as a curse, we say, शाप दे रहे हैं. शाप नहीं है, वो देख के उनको समझ में आ रहा, seeing that he is understanding that this is what is going to happen to this person because of his own behavior. But he speaks out the truth. Actually his curse should be taken as a caution for the other. It is not a shapa, it is a caution given to the person. He may change it also in that case. To change the shapa he may do something, as Parikshit did. Parikshit's case, he is going to die in 7 days, that Takshaka will come in. What did he do? Did he cry and try to beat the saint or to kill the saint that he has given me shapa? Nothing like that. Oh, it is my due, so how do I spend these 7 days? So call all the knowers and all. Finally Shukadeva himself came and preached him, and by the time the Takshaka came and beat him, before that he has left his body. He has merged with the truth. So it is not really a shapa, it is a caution given because their mind is in resonance with the natural tune, with the fundamental law of nature. So the truth comes out of their mind. That is why they are called Satyavak. That is, if anything comes out of their mind, that happens. Why? Because he will not speak otherwise. He is speaking the truth. Do you get the point? It will help us to understand matters. So that is what he said, that this aksharam, this Omkara, when anybody is doing the Omkara upasana, they should consider it like that. Now if the Omkara you consider to be the symbol of Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of the truth, the knowledge of ourself, then in that form also it is true that that is the supreme, that is the ultimate, and when you have the self-knowledge, then whatever you want, you become. You don't want anything out of desire, but whatever sankalpa rises in your mind, that happens. So in Mundaka Upanishad, therefore he says, Tasmat atmajyam hi achayet bhuti kamaha. If you have lot of worldly desire also, but if your desires are rightful desires, good desires, you better worship than worshipping an idol, you worship a knower. Because seeing you, if a sankalpa rises in your mind, it will happen. Suppose you are a really honest, good person, but suffering for nothing, some fate element or something is there wrong in that. And seeing you, the knower feels sympathetic that he should not suffer. Why is he suffering like that? Then his sankalpa will come true. So that desire will be fulfilled. He will no more suffer for that. Suppose he feels that he should get an employment also. He may think sometimes that genuine a person for nothing he is suffering, he will get an employment. It happens almost every day. There is nothing new about it. So the question is that the sankalpa normally it doesn't arise out of his personal selfish desire or anything. His mind is already free of the desires. It is in tune with nature. So any sankalpa for anything happening, coming out will be fructified. Then comes further instruction. Etad alambanam shreshtham, etad alambanam param. This is not only true for the Omkara, it is true for anything. Suppose your Guru has given you a mantra. Any mantra, when it is given, do you know the power in it? While it has been given to you, you don't know the power. Do you know? It is only you take it as a mantra given by your Guru. Now, he is saying that consider that as your ultimate refuge. That is, once you have got the grace of the Guru or got a mantra, or you are holding on to Omkara also as it is said, whatever you are holding on to, consider that as to be the supreme refuge. Give that the supreme place in your life. Just the other day I was telling that Shraddha means whatever value we give to anything. So our Shraddha means, in Vedanta, the Shraddha means Shastreshu Guru Vakyeshu Bhakti Shraddha Nigadyate. That means we have to value the words of the scripture and the words of the Guru as the supreme. That is called Shraddha. So any seeker having that Shraddha means he will consider the words of the Guru and the words of the Shastra above anything else in life. That is, suppose you are in front of a great deluge and everything is going. You will not pray to God that, oh, it should not go, my house should not go, or anything. You should only pray that to that power, to your Guru, to Bhagavan, to Omkara, whatever you are praying. If you have given him the supreme position, I don't know where lies my supreme goal. May whatever will take me to that auspicious goal, may that happen. Do you get my point? Giving that the supreme position in life. सुप्रीम पोजीशन कैसे देंगे? हमारा कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ तो हम दौड़ेंगे इनके पास, एस्ट्रोलॉजर के पास दौड़ेंगे, काली बड़ी. I often say that our opposite house, the lady, every Saturday she used to visit all the Kali temples of Calcutta. By the time she come back home, she was working in a bank, so Saturday used to be a half day. When she would come back home by about 10 o'clock in the night, she would look like a Surpanakha. That the whole hairs are radiating all around the head. What has happened? That day she has missed Tantaniya Kali Badi. It's a very powerful Kali. Because of the bus strike or something, she could not visit. So all the fear dawns on her that Tantaniya Kali will definitely curse her that day. Because she has visited other Kalis but could not go there. Because of any reason. See the pity. And every Saturday this was happening. That is, going to one Kali, that means what is she doing? Her object is, each Murti is one Kali. Each Kali temple Murti is one Kali separately. She has to see all of them to please all of them. And if one she is not pleased, she is not happy with the grace of the other 9 she has seen. But the one she has not seen, her curse becomes the most powerful. So we call God supreme, but we don't give him the supreme position. This is the problem. Whether it is God or our initiation or our mantra, when you give mantra the supreme position, the mantra you have taken from the Guru or the Omkara you are doing japa, if you give it the supreme position that this is my supreme refuge, etad alammanam shreshtham, I don't have any other alammanam, I don't have any other refuge, this is my refuge. Even for something, I will not run to the Prime Minister or the President. If anything happens, I will run to this, not to any astrologer, not to any goddesses, not to any big person, rich person, nothing. This is my supreme refuge I will hold on to. Etad alammanam shreshtham, etad alammanam param. This is the supreme refuge, this is the best refuge. Etad alammanam jnatva. When you perceive your sadhana with that attitude that this is the supreme, then what happens? Your sadhana will become a live sadhana. The fire of that mantra given to you will start blazing forth in you. Mantra is not in the word. The mantra is a power given to you. The power is immediately not apparent as you practice with this, giving it the supreme position. This supreme position is very important. The moment you give it the supreme position in preference to all others, everything in world, it starts blazing forth. In some cases, that is how people just progress in their sadhana in a few months. Everything is done. In some other cases, 50 years, 60 years, it just goes because they have not, that sadhu I said today first. He said that there was no intensity for the truth in my mind. So if the intensity is not there, means the sadhana, he has not given the supreme position. So it will continue forever, the sadhana, but it won't fruition, it won't give us the benefit of it. So when we pursue, what happens is that mantra starts becoming powerful, it starts radiating its power, radiating its potential. So more we advance, more we come to know of its power. Initially we did not know. It is our faith in that, it is our value, our shraddha in that, it is the position we have given to the mantra that works in the mind, and the mantra starts becoming vibrant in our mind, powerful, live in our mind. Then as it blazes forth like fire, when it becomes really new with its all power, then you have become mantra siddha. It's called mantra siddha. That means the mantra is now in you with its full power. That is the time after that you can give the mantra to others. That is how this has been flowing down from generation to generation in our country. That one person was given something, he did the tapasya and he blazed, he enlightened the fire in him, and the fire started blazing forth. The mantra became in its full potential in him. Then he can light the next generation with that. Again he pursues his sadhana with the full refuge in that. He lights the lamp in the next generation. Like that it comes down. So etad alambanam nyatva, whatever you are holding on as your supreme refuge, by holding on to it, giving it the supreme value, makes it powerful. It becomes more and more powerful. Finally, one day you know the power of the mantra. Etad alambanam jnatva. Then only you have known the mantra meaning. Mantra means mananat trayatiti mantra. It is not the word. Mantra, the etymology is mananat trayatiti mantra. That means by meditating on it, by contemplating on which, you will be released, you will be freed from the worldliness. Trayati means relieved from the worldliness, that is the multiple vision. You will be launched in the truth. So that mantra should fulfill its purpose. That means you must get its manana trayate, that by thinking about it, contemplating on it, doing its japa, doing its practice, you must be rid of the worldliness, of the multiple vision, the multiple entanglement. You will be launched in the truth. So it is etad alambanam shreshtham. We have to consider the alambanam we have taken, the refuge we have taken to be the best refuge. That is the supreme refuge. That means you have to give it the supreme position. You call him supreme refuge or run to all ABCD, astrologer, king and all that. Then it is not the supreme refuge. I remember when we were in Koshi Road, my mother had a stroke. The doctors those days used to call, I think they called it as virus meningitis or something finally. But actually it was a stroke. Froth and all was coming out, the body was jumping on the bed like that. It was quite serious. So we had called the ambulance. Because what I remember is just in front of the house I am standing, it was midnight. And we were waiting for the ambulance to come. The moment the ambulance is seen on the junction of the Jubilee Road and all, I would have to guide because they may not be able to find. So I am standing on the road in front, waiting for the ambulance, and I still remember my mind that I was only praying that let whatever is good, whatever is auspicious, let that happen. I was not praying that let my mother be saved or this happen or that happen. The prayer was simply constantly in my mind that let whatever is auspicious, may it happen. This should be the case. At that time, what would have been my age? 17, 18?
It was 1970.
1970. So late. So 21 years old I was. 20, 21, around that. No, that means quite grown up. I thought I was a child. No. Even now I think I am only, earlier I used to say I am only 2-3 years old. Now I have increased it. After crossing 70, I said that I am 4-5 years old. This time in birthday they wanted me to say something, so I said I have completed 70. So many of our ashrams, 70? Yes, I have crossed 70. But although in my mind I think to be 5 years old. So we should give that the supreme position in life. Then everything we want will come from there only. We don't have to look towards anything at all, because it is the mind, power of the mind. When the mind is in harmony with nature, with the fundamental tune of nature, when the mind is in resonance with the natural harmony, then that has the maximum power. We don't have to pray separately anything that my son become all right, or let this become happen, that happen, let me have a good job. Nothing we have to pray. We will be floating in nature, in tune with the infinite. You get my point? This is the Sahaja Bhava. The greatest power lies there in that Sahaja power. So these slokas have great meaning. Etad alammanam shreshtham, etad alammanam. Alammanam means refuge. The refuge you take, consider that refuge to the best, that refuge to the supreme. Give it the supreme position. Then one day you will know the power, the potential of that refuge. Then you will be in the Brahmaloka. That whatever you want, the end, it will be. The ultimate goal will be attained. So this is true of Omkara, it is true of other sadhanas also. Then comes the real answer to Nachiketa's question. These two are not directly answer to Nachiketa's question. This he is saying that he said that I will tell you in essence, whatever the Vedas are pointing out, etc., I will tell you in essence. Then in essence, what is that? It is the Omkara. Now this Omkara is the supreme, this Omkara is the whole universe, this Omkara is the supreme transcendental truth also. When you come to know the real meaning of this Omkara, you can do whatever you want, you will have whatever you want. And the next one, consider this Omkara as your ultimate refuge, the best refuge, the ultimate refuge. When you come to know what power this refuge has, when you come to know this Omkara in full, because it is Brahma Vidya, you come to know the truth, then you are in Brahmaloka. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. That knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So knowing this alambana, knowing this refuge, you become that refuge. What is this refuge? This is your own soul. We consider initially that it is something else from here. We start doing japa or meditation on that mantra, practicing that mantra. At that time we don't think that it is what I am. You cannot think, because we have formed an idea about our identity as a small identity, fearful identity, upset identity, agitated identity, encapsulated by the body-mind personality. So unless those associations are completely removed, like as they say, taking out the pith from the grass, they have to be relieved from that. Then the real power of the I will come out. So that is the meaning of the etad alammanam jnatva. You finally understand that the alambana is nothing else but it is what I am. That is the alambana. And that's it. That is the supreme. So will you not become powerful then? Will you not become the full, dissolved in that Brahman? That is why he said Brahma loke mahiyate. You become glorious in the Brahma loka. Now comes the answer to his Nachiketa's question. Don't forget what was his question. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat krita kritat, anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha yattat pashyasi tat bada. That means if you know anything transcending the dharma adharma duality code, transcending causality, transcending time, you tell me about that. Now he is replying. न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Exactly similar verse is in Bhagavad Gita also, you must be knowing. Only little difference, vipaschit here he has used. In Bhagavad Gita it is na jayate mriyate va kadachit. And nayam kutaschit na babhuva kaschit, there it is a little different. What is that? Nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuyah. Then it is same again. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyamane nahanyate hanyamane sharire. People often quote these things because it has a certain power. It is talking about the immortality of our soul. So they naturally, often in the novels, in Bengali novels, we find these quotations very often because of the power. These words then in Kathopanishad again, that the razor sage Somerset Maugham has quoted, that name razor sage they have taken, that is Uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodhata kshurasya dhara nishita duratya durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. This is also from Kathopanishad. Vivekananda used to use it repeatedly. Uttishtata jagrata, arise, awake. So these are very oft quoted shlokas. But when we go deep into the meaning, there is a lot of depth and subtlety in the reply. He says, first of all, replying to Nachiketa's first question, that he asked whether there is something or something not. So he says that na jayate na mriyate va kadachit. When the body falls, the body dies. But the I in us, it neither gets born nor dies. So there is no question of that I getting born with the body at that time or I dying when the body falls. I can never change. It is untouched, untainted, imperishable. So the changes in the body, right from birth the body undergoes changes, it grows, it decays, finally it dies. The changes in the body we are knowing because of the unchanging nature of the Atma. There should be always an unchanging background to reveal the changes. We are knowing the changes of the body, changes of the mind, changes in the intelligence only because the consciousness is not undergoing the corresponding change. So, first he is removing the doubt that don't think that the I in us, the Atma you are talking about, it gets born or dies. It never. So when we deny the birth and the death, it means actually deny the causality also. Anything in creation is having a birth, having a death and having changes. It is part of the causal chain, cause and effect chain. So actually we are denying the causality there itself. That this truth does not undergo, it is beyond, it is transcending the causal changes, it is imperishable. Now here he has used the word vipaschit, which is very deeply meaning. In Bhagavad Gita they have simply used kadachit there, means never. Here vipaschit means one meaning is that a knower is called a vipaschit. A knower is called a vipaschit. Now why is he saying that a knower never gets born and never dies? Because he is one who has identified with the unchanging soul. So to him, he is not the body will fall, it doesn't matter at all. Suppose the fan is rotating or the light is burning or the microphone is producing, all this, is it not from the electricity? We are not seeing the electricity, we are missing the electricity, but we are using all that is moving, giving light, giving sound, everything we are using. But the fundamental soul there is the electricity. Now if that fan becomes bad or the microphone becomes bad, nothing happens to the electricity. It remains. Still more, suppose a radio has been tuned and it produces a Jamshedpur station. Now radio, small circuit breaks and the radio does not manifest the sound anymore. Has anything happened to the electromagnetic waves that is radiated from the station and going around everywhere? Nothing has happened. It is the radio which has gone bad. Like that, when the body falls, it is the body is not responding to that consciousness. That means the awareness has gone, which is, suppose there are so many examples. The illustrations are necessary to have the intelligential clarity. Suppose there is a lake on which so many waves are there. The moon is reflected by each wave. Is it not? When you look at each wave, the reflection of the moon you are seeing in the waves, they are all different. And with the motion of the wave, the moon is becoming half, it is going away. When the wave goes, the moon has gone. If the waves subside, the moon will not be seen there. So it is dancing with the waves, it is becoming half distorted like this, it gets burned, it dies also. The reflected moon undergoes all the changes. But has anything happened to the moon really? It is a reflection. Actually, it is a change in the wave, which is perceived as if a change in the moon. कोई doubt है इसमें? Like that exactly the consciousness in us, it is reflected in our intelligence. And what we are seeing, intelligence means that which reveals our fundamental base of the intelligence. And with that it appears to be changing with the body. That is why I am sick today, I am happy today, I had bad thoughts, I was sorry, I was happy, etc. These changes we are all associating with the I is actually not with the I, but with the mind, with the body, with the emotion. They are all part of the wave, not of the moon. You get it? So we have to disidentify from there to know the real moon. Nothing happens to the moon when one wave dies or the another wave dies or another wave comes and wave are oscillating. Nothing, no movement is there in the wave at all. Like that the consciousness never undergoes any change. Where is the question of leaving one body and going to another body? It is all pervading one transcendental. Another example you can take, which I give always, that suppose the light is coming from, the sunlight is coming. You put a small mirror there. You will have a reflected beam from the mirror, and with that reflected beam you can see whatever you want to see. By rotating the mirror you can see everything. Now suppose the mirror starts thinking that this reflected beam is originating from the mirror. Is it right? The reflection is from the mirror, but the generation of the light is not from the mirror. The mirror is only reflecting the light from there or reproducing the light from there. With that you are seeing everything. That is our awareness. We don't call it full consciousness, we call it awareness. Another real term is, in Sanskrit, we call it chidabhasa. The consciousness, the Atma is called Chit. That is the real consciousness. The Chit is never undergoing any change. It is a real Atma. It never undergoes any change. It's a name of the Atma. Another way of expressing the Atma, because it is consciousness. It's called Chit. But the awareness, so-called awareness we have is called Chit Abhasa, Chidabhasa. That is when a body is producing the awareness from the body. The Chit in association of the body is creating this awareness, the secondary wave. That is called Chidabhasa. So when the mirror breaks, is that the reflected beam? When the mirror either become opaque or it breaks, that it is not there. But nothing has happened to the original light. So the mirror breaking is the death of the mirror, but not death of the light. Now it all depends on shifting our identity from the reflected light to the original light. That is all the spiritual sadhana is about. We are always thinking that reflected light is what I am. From there we have to shift the focus to the original light. That is why samadhi is a great help in that, because at that time there is no reflected light. It is just like the, say, if you illustrate it physically. Now you want to find out the mirror, suppose it is told the mirror so far was thinking that this reflected beam is from me. That is normally we think. Now somebody told him, no, this reflected beam is not from you. It is coming from the main source. But he doesn't accept. To know that it is from the main source, it has to see that source. Otherwise it is not aware of the main source. It thinks that it is coming from me. So to go to the main source, what will the mirror do? It has to turn its secondary light towards the main source, because it is used to see with the secondary light. It cannot see with the original light. It is, are you following my point? It is able to see with the reflected beam only. To see the original light also, he thinks that I have to see it with the reflected beam, and like a fool he is turning the mirror towards that. Like a fool, like an intelligent person, because without that he will never be convinced. So he has to turn the mirror towards the original light. Now when the mirror is fully turned to the original light, what happens to the reflected beam? It has got merged in the original light. Exactly this happens in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that our egoistic sentience gets merged in the universal I or the transcendental I. And at that time there is no mirror, no world, nothing. You don't see the world also anymore at that time. Everything has got dissolved in that original light. Now in meditation what we try to do is to turn the mirror towards that. But where is our obstacle in meditation? That we still go on thinking that with the secondary light I will see the first light, the original light, which can never be done. When we stop having the secondary light, automatically the illustration can go to certain extent, but not to the full. The tendency to look for anything else, tendency to use the secondary light, when that is renounced, then the original light becomes all there. No more secondary light, no more mirror, nothing. The mirrors also have become light then, made of light. Originally we are thinking the mirrors are made of material, they are reflecting. Actually it is not. The mirrors are also appearing, just like the whole world. Mirrors also an appearance in that light. It is, everything is light and light alone, nothing else. And it is not seen by anybody else also. You become the light. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Does it give you any clarity? You have to meditate on it to get into to retain, as I said yesterday night. So, na jayate mriyate va vipaschit. Vipaschit means a knower, because he has identified his I with the transcendental I, the consciousness. So, he thinks that he is not born, he is not going to die also. Another meaning of vipaschit is intelligence. That is, it is referring to the Atma here as intelligence. Intelligence means that which understands. That it is the ultimate intelligence. It is referring to the Atma also, you can say. So you can say the Atma never gets born, never dies. But the meaning of the knower is more important, because it is true of the Atma when we say, we think of Atma as something different. But by saying vipaschit, it is brought to our notice that actually when we change our identity, we shift our identity from the body-mind personality to this real light, then we also don't get born, we don't die, that we attain immortality. Nayam kutaschit na babhuva kaschit. This is a statement which even the scientists will not easily agree, but we have to convince them. He says that it has not come from anywhere else, that Atma or the consciousness or the ultimate truth. It has not originated from anything. That means it has to be non-causal. Otherwise, if it has originated from something else, then something else that becomes the ultimate. Then again you will ask, that must be better. This is the causal logic. So saying that it has not come from any other cause, that means it is beyond causality. Na babhuva kaschit. When it is beyond causality means it cannot produce also anything. See the fallacy. We attain this saying that the whole world, what is the cause of the universe? That was our enquiry. So we found that the cause cannot be traced by the causality, because then again we will ask what is the cause of that. So the ultimate cause has to be causeless. But that moment you are saying it is causeless means it is transcending causality. That means it also cannot cause the world. It cannot cause anything. Do you understand this logic? It's very subtle, but once you understand, you will get great joy. That means it cannot produce the world also. You found it as the looking for the cause of the world. But when you found it as beyond causality, it cannot cause anything also. Not acceptable. So it gives rise to an entirely different philosophy. Not only philosophy, it's the truth also. That all our objective analysis is based on, it is called parinama srishti, material causality or material creation. The whole science is based on material creation, material causality. That means whenever something is produced, the source will undergo some change. To produce an effect, the cause has to undergo a change. When the sun is radiating, the hydrogen in the sun is reducing and the helium in the sun is increasing. When the book is burnt, ash is born and the book dies. You cannot have the book in full and have the ash for that also. Everything in life, in the world, in the entire objectitude, if something is born means something has to die for that. If you have a mass of gold, you make a pot with that, the pot will be born, but the mass will not be there. In the form also it will undergo a change. So everything in material srishti, the cause will undergo a change to produce an effect. This is called parinama srishti or material causality or material creation. Now this whole material world is actually appearing in our consciousness, and that consciousness is not within the material world at all. You cannot see even as a subtle object in your mind also. That becomes an obstacle for our sadhana, because we think self I will see one day. Self can never be seen. Then if it is seen, then that is not the self. The person who is seeing is the self. The seer is the self, not the seen. The revealed cannot be the self. The revealer is the self. So it is not a material, not an object, but the only item we know of which doesn't undergo any change. It is not in the material world at all. In the objectitude, it is not there. That is the consciousness. And how it is bringing out the srishti, the whole universe? It is only apparential srishti, that as in dream, suddenly a huge palace appears. Is there a causality that somebody had to build the palace and come to the final shape that the masons are working in? It just appears. Like that in wakeful state also, actually whatever we are seeing, whatever we are interacting with, they are all appearing in the consciousness. It just appears. Om Sahana Vavatu
Sahana Vavatu
Sahano Bhunaktu
Sahano Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karavavahai
Sahaviryam Karavavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Ma Vidvishavahai
Ma Vidvishavahai
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti